Well, hi there, students. Welcome to this class. My name is Mr. Stewart, and I've been teaching at Cedar Springs High School for 11 years now. I'm so excited to be your teacher. Back when I was a kid, growing up about an hour south of here in the town of Middleville, real similar dynamic to Cedar Springs. You know, I thought I wanted to be a doctor growing up, and in high school, my first jobs were things like helping my stepdad sell Little Debbie snack cakes, working at a grocery store as a stocker, pretty sweet job, delivering meals at the hospital in a nearby town. And then when I went to college at University of Michigan, I started my pre-med path for about half of a year before I realized that really there was not much that interested me about being a doctor except for the prestige and the money. And I can remember a doctor telling me, you better make sure you love what you see when you shadow doctors and visit hospitals, because that's going to be your life, he said. And my eyes just kind of went big, and I had this crisis. What am I going to do? But I quickly realized that I loved learning. I loved young people, and I loved the idea of connecting those two things as my job. So as a student teacher, I taught in Ypsilanti, Michigan at a high school that's no longer running, called Willow Run. Very thankful for my time there. After I graduated from college, I went to Baltimore, where I taught for 3 years as a middle school English teacher. I taught 6th graders and then 7th graders and 8th graders, so I got to know my students really well by the time my time in Baltimore was done. And then my wife and I went to New York City, where she had an undergraduate degree to finish. And when I was in New York, I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep teaching. The job was really hard for me in Baltimore, and I was interested in writing and interested in just pursuing other options. And so I worked a bunch of odd jobs, worked at Starbucks, worked as a busboy at a steakhouse near the United Nations. I did some temp work, some freelance writing, just basically whatever I could to help support our family. And then we moved back to Michigan when my wife graduated, and I found a long-term substitute teaching job at a place called Cedar Springs High School that I had never heard of in all my life. And my work here helped me, was part of me falling back in love with teaching. And so that's been kind of my journey. That's a little introduction to me as your teacher. I will end by saying that I absolutely feel that it's a privilege and a pleasure to get to be your teacher this year, and I'm really excited to learn together.